Hey guys, how's it going? F8 Alpha here and welcome back to the channel. Today we are back on World of Tanks and we're having a look at the newest addition to the premium shop. We're having a look at the PZ-B2 740. Now this tank is available right now in the premium shop, which is July 27th until August 7th, so you have a little bit of time to figure out if this tank is right for you. Now there are three bundles I want to go ahead and get into here. You have the standard bundle, or the boosted bundle, which is $11.99, and that comes with obviously the tank, garage slots, and personal reserves. You have the loaded bundle, which has the tank, garage slot, a spall liner, improved ventilation, and a toolbox, in addition to personal reserves, and a multiplier of 5 for the next 10 wins, which is handy. And then you have the ultimate bundle, which is the tank, garage slots, heavy spall liner, improved ventilation, toolbox, 30 personal reserves, 50% credit personal reserves, and 100% XP personal reserves, in addition to the multiplier of 5 for the first 30 wins. So that could definitely boost up a crew very quickly. But let's go ahead and get into the comparison here. Let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes, what this tank is all about. So for this comparison, I will be comparing the PZ-B2 to the French B1. Now the PZ-B2 obviously is a premium tank, and the B1 is not. It is found in the tech tree. It also is French, not German. So let's go ahead and get into it here. Let's look at firepower. The DPM of the B2 is 1,498. where the B1 is 1,638, meaning that the B1 has a slight advantage when it comes to DPM, a little less than 200. So that is something to keep your eye on there. Now the penetration on the B2 is 55, the penetration on the B1 is 66. The damage on the B2, or the alpha damage per shot, is 52, where the alpha damage per shot on the B1 is 55, so just a little bit more on that. The rate of fire on both these tanks is blistering fast. The B2 has a 28.8 rounds per minute of fire, where the B1 has a 29.8, hence the higher DPM of the B1. A quick note in the area of firepower would be that both these tanks have 112 rounds of ammunition you can equip on them, meaning that you can go ahead and bring 50 rounds or however many rounds you want of premium rounds or standard rounds. And with that said, let's go ahead and look at the premium rounds, because that's what this tank is really known for. So the premium rounds have 90 penetration, and quite honestly, to be frank with you guys, that is what you will be shooting at this tank the majority of the time, unless you just happen to come across the rear of a tank or a very lightly armored tank. Most of the time you will be spamming the APCR, but with that said, you do have 90 millimeters of penetration, which is very handy for pretty much all tier 4s. There's really nothing that can withstand that kind of penetration at tier 4. And with that said, that brings me to my next point, that the B2 is a strictly tier 4 tank. This tank does not see tier 5s. This tank is a preferential that only sees tier 4 battles, meaning that you're top tier every battle you're in. So keep that in the forefront of your mind when you're looking at this tank for possibly picking it up. But let's go ahead and get back into the comparison here. The aim time on the B2 is 1.1 seconds. It is ultra fast. It's super snappy. And the B2 is no slouch itself, but it does have a 1.4, slightly slower. The dispersion on both these tanks is 0.37, meaning it's not a sniper at range. The B2 has 10 degrees of gun depression, which is excellent. However, the B1 does have a beat with 13 degrees of gun depression. So it makes it, both these tanks are amazing hill fighters, but the B1 has a 3-degree advantage in terms of depression. Let's go ahead and move forward to mobility here. They both have a forward speed of 30 kilometers. The B1 has a slight advantage in terms of horsepower per ton. It has a 31.5, where the B2 has a 31.3. Now, don't get me wrong, a heavy tank with anything over 20 is incredible. This thing has a 31.3 horsepower per ton ratio, meaning that you pretty much maintain full speed unless you're going up a very steep hill or something like that. This tank is incredibly agile. Now let's go ahead and move forward to the next point of mobility, the turret traverse and hull traverse. The turret traverse on the B2 is 45.8, which is amazing. The B1 has a 31.2, which is still damn good, but not quite as good as the B2. The hull traverse on the B2 is 46.9, which is insane. This tank can swivel on a dime, guys. This is a very, very maneuverable tank, although the top speed is not very high. Now the B1 has a hull traverse of 29, which is sluggish. So with that said, the B2 is clearly the more mobile tank. Now let's go ahead and look at the armor. The hull and the turrets on these two tanks are identical. So the hull armor is 60 on the front, 60 on the sides, and 55 at the rear. The turret armor is 46 on the front, sides, and rear, meaning that if you angle this tank, it is very, very durable, which also leads me to the hit points, or the health pool of this tank. This tank has 400 hit points, which makes it very durable at tier 4. A quick note would be that the radio range on the B2 is 547 meters, meaning that some of these maps, some of the larger maps, your radio cannot actually reach all the way across the map. So that's just a quick note. Now the B1 does not have this problem, has a 740 meter view radio range on it. I wanted to kind of highlight this tank as far as the armor profile goes. So the bulge at the front on the hull is about 45 millimeters thick. Now it is angled at the top and on the bottom of it, but it is easily penetrated. So that is one of your main weak points. Also the hatch on the hull, the driver's hatch, is 45 millimeters as well. So if you're gonna look to take out this tank effectively, go ahead and aim at one of these two targets, as they are both a weak spot. Also the cupola on top is 46. However, it is much more rounded, so it will deflect the occasional shot or two. But overall, the hull on this tank, like I said, is 60 millimeters thick, but it is angled, and it does have some very different shapes to it, meaning that it's anywhere from 60 to 90 millimeters thick, depending on angling. And the turret, although it's only 46 millimeters thick, it has anywhere from about 55 to 135 millimeters of armor. Another point to make with this tank is that the crew consists of a commander, a driver, and 2 radio men, making it not a very efficient crew trainer if you're looking at training up a German heavy crew. As far as the equipment goes on this tank, I would recommend ventilation, I would recommend a heavy spall liner, and I would recommend either a toolbox, or if your crew already has their repairs skill already trained up, I would recommend maybe coated optics. Anything else is really unneeded for this tank. It is a heavy tank, so a spall liner and vents are kind of a must, as you cannot equip a gun rammer. How to play this tank? This is very much a front line brawler. It does do 30 kilometers forward, which means that it might take you a little while to get to the front lines. However, when you do, this tank is very, very effective and very resilient when you angle it, as you'll see in my video. This tank is a great... Let's go ahead and get back to the price point here. Now, personally, I would highly recommend the boosted bundle, which is the $11.99 bundle, as this tank is fairly rare. You don't see it very often in the premium shop, and for $12 to have a tank that only sees tier 4s, you will be top tier every time. So for my final thoughts on the B2, I would say I would pick this one up, especially the $12.99 bundle. It does come with some personal reserves, which is very, very handy. You can make those extra credits. This tank is not a particularly well at grinding out credits. It does grind out XP, and it is not a good crew trainer. This tank is strictly to have fun. This is one of those tanks that you load up APCR and you go ahead and platoon up with 2 other people, and you go that have B2s, and you go ahead and pretty much dominate the battle. 3 of these B2s in a platoon in a particular area on a map will definitely dominate and dictate the sway of the map, the sway of the battle. This tank is very resilient, is very effective. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, it only sees tier 4, so your top tier. This is one to pick up, guys. $12.99, you can't go wrong. So with that said, that's my review of the B2 MF8 Alpha, and I will catch you guys next time.